A lot of people are asking what my edit UI is, and so let's just talk about that very quickly. So what we want to do is press escape and then click edit UI, and if you guys don't see this here, then just type edit, and then you guys can basically see edit UI there. Make sure you guys click that, and then now we will be on this screen. After that, let's start from the very top. And so the red ones are basically unchangeable, and so you guys can't really move the red ones. That's the problem, right? The widget is fixed. However, you guys can definitely move everything else. And so if you guys see like eyeballs that's closed, that means, you know, it basically like gets rid of them. And so if you see eyeball though, that means it's activated. And so for example, you guys can see a chat box right here, for example, on the bottom right. And then if we save it and then saved it as our preset 1, for example, we can basically now see our chats, for example. But then now if we, turn it off or like this and then save it on preset 1, now you guys don't see it. And so now what we want to do is basically, do all that and adjust it, make it all nice and pretty. However, for returning a new BDO players, I would highly suggest you guys honestly turning these main quest and quest widget on. All right. And then once you guys save that, then you guys can see all the, quests that you guys need to do on the left or on the right side. And so I highly recommend you guys turning that on. And so for example, if I need to do my Valencia, I can just click on that. It just pops right up. And then after that, just click navigate. And then if I do that, I can basically start doing my main quest for my Valencia if I wanted to. And there's a side quest that we can actually do. For example, like co-op weekly. And I still got to do this one, for example, right? And if I do so, then I get all these kind of loots, for example. And these are basically side quests. So what you guys want to do now here is basically, put main right here like this. And then put like widget, quest widget like this right below main quest. And then save it. And then it just makes it nice and pretty, just make a very nice to-do list for yourself on that screen. However, I don't really need that, and so that's why I turned it off, and then, I just left it like that, so now it just makes it much cleaner on my screen. And then chat box, you definitely want to turn that on, right? So that way you guys can see your guildmates, what they're saying, or world chats, and so on. And you guys can also put, everything else of what you guys want to see. For example, your private items or party items, workers, farming, central market, anything. And it's really fun to readjusting these. For font size, I would recommend huge for sure. And then for usually what I like to do is guild alliance, guild, combat, party, general. Just make sure everything is check mark on these ones. And then whisper as well if somebody's trying to whisper you. And then guild alliance. And then for system, you guys can turn on like generals or private item, even party item if you want to, and so on. And so yeah, like these ones will basically help you guys filter out whatever you want on your chat windows. And so that's what you guys can do for that scenario. In order to go back there is basically just hover the chat again, and then there's a chat window settings right here on the top left. Just click on that and then you guys can basically play with them, and so have fun with that. Friendly reminder for those people who doesn't not know about the color codes, the light blues are basically guild. And so if you guys also want to, you guys can turn this on for header for all chat windows. And if you guys do so, then it basically tells you, if this is from server or world chat and so on. And then also don't forget that you guys can also, make this even longer if you guys wanted to. And so you guys can basically readjust that as well if you guys wanted to, and then just play around with that if you guys wanted to. And then after that, you guys can also make, like chat 1 and chat 2, for example. So chat 1 for me, I basically made it as, like all the world chat, server chat. So whenever I'm asking somebody a question in world chat, server chat, now I can basically see everything. If not, if I just wanted to filter it out right here, for example, now you guys can only see my guildmates, for example, right? And I turned it off my world chat, server chat. So that way it filters out, every chat filter box. And so that's what you guys can do as well. And then if you want more chat windows, just make sure to click that plus button right there, and then now you get basically more slots with more filters. And then yeah, you guys can basically play around with it, and so have fun with it. Next, let's talk about display currency key input. So if you guys turn this on, for example, now you guys can see like what kind of buttons I'm pressing, right? So that's what that is. And so it's really nice when I'm like basically making a video guide or something like that, so you guys know exactly what keyboards I am pressing. But right now, since I'm not doing that, so I just turned it off for now. And then after that, we have a skill guide. This one's very important for newer beginner players. And so you guys actually want to turn that on as well. And if you guys do so, if you go into the combat station, for example, outside in the battle area, this is the safe zone, so we can't basically see our skill guide. But once we get out of this safe location, now we can basically start seeing our combos. And so right now I am Succession, and so now I can only see like Succession combos, for example. And this is only like simple scenarios. And there's definitely more skills that you guys can use, but it's only trying to teach you like the main parts about Meiwa's abilities. And so if you guys are new to the BDO and new to this character, this is highly recommended to turn it on, so you guys can see all the things that you guys can press. For example, Prime Dragon Bite, SLMB. You guys can click that and do that. Shift Q. So that is some stuff that you guys can basically do. And so I highly recommend you guys turning that on if you guys are new to BDO or trying to learn new class. But if you guys know how to play your class, then just turn it off, just like I did right there. After that, I basically want to talk about, which is item drop log as well, right? So whenever you guys are grinding, now it was going to basically pop up whenever you guys are grinding. You guys can get like some kind of trash loot from the enemy, for example, here. So just like that, you guys see like all the trash loot on the left side now, basically. So just like that. It just pops on the left side. And so yeah, you guys definitely want to turn that on when you guys are grinding, for example, because it just shows you what kind of drops you guys get. After that, this platoon and party, you can't really turn it on until you actually get a party or platoon, so just leave it off for now, and then you can just play around with it. Personally, I just like to put it on the top left, so that's what I did there. Same thing with the PVP. You guys want to put that maybe like right below information. So that way now it pops up basically right there whenever I'm PvPing. However, I'm in seasonal server right now, and so you guys can't really see PvP right here. If you press Alt C, you basically can trigger and then actually force people to PvP basically, right? However, you can't do that in seasonal server, and so make sure you just do that like in any other servers besides seasonal server. And then after that, there's a mount, right? You guys make sure you want to turn this on and then try to like readjust this, right? So this is what I did right here. And if you guys don't do it right, it would look something like this if I do it like right there, for example, right? And it just overlaps everything. So make sure you guys just play around with that, right? Make sure, your horse is not on top of contribution points. So what you guys want to do is just play around that and just move it to the right a little bit, right? And now it's not collapsing, so that's good enough, I would say, right? And then after that, now you guys have horse, you guys can see your residents, your workers, garden, pet list, and so on. So make sure, that one is activated because that's really, really important for PvE grinding. And yeah, and that's the stuff that you guys want to see. And then after that, skill cooldowns, right? So whenever I'm using abilities, it just shows, skill cooldowns. So this is really nice to use if you guys really want to, but personally, I would maybe not. I would highly recommend instead going for a skill cooldown slots right here. And then make sure you guys press number 1, number 2, and everything all the way up to level cooldown 20. And so I made a whole video guide about this, guys, in order to play any class. If you guys wanted to play any class right now and you don't know what you're doing, there's some really cool video that I just made. And so yeah, definitely check that video, guys. And then in this video is basically going to teach you guys how to play any class in 1 hour. And using this skill cooldown slot is going to help you guys learn the class basically. And so I highly recommend you guys checking that out. And then after that, let's move on to the next one. After that quick slot, you guys can't really adjust this or turn it on, so yeah, just leave that on the bottom. And then after that, there's like game tips right on the very bottom left. So if you guys are new to the BDO, you guys can like leave that on, but I have lots of experience, so I'm just gonna turn that off and make it pretty. And then after that, we have a function button, which is right here on the top right. And so what this one is basically teaches like seasonal pass, right? If you click on it, it tells you like all the seasonal pass, for example, or there's a race info, like show nodes and voice chat. But yeah, besides the seasonal pass, I don't really recommend honestly turning it on unless you really need to like find NPCs as well though, right? So that's convenient for that one, and just click repair, and then it just tells you where to go for like repair guide, for example, right? However, you can also do that by pressing M, and then on the bottom right it says find NPC, right? So you guys literally can do the same thing. And so yeah, it's just up to you guys if you guys want to leave that on or not. It's up to you. And then after that, minimap, 100% you guys want to leave this on, right? Because you guys want to see what's going on in the map. Personally, I would make this to the biggest size because bigger the better. Because for example, when you guys are PvPing or even PvE grinding, you can see your surrounding, for example. So if somebody wants to like attack you or aggro you, at least you can literally like see a guy from here to here, for example, right? And so this is very, very nice to see, like if somebody's around you, for example, and just be map awareness. And so this can be really good for PvPing, but PvE maybe it's not as important. But personally, I love PvP, and so I just like it to make it very big. And then you can make a really cool settings like this too. If you guys click on this 2D, it makes a really cool, you know, 3Ds, for example, but it gets really, really weird. And so if you're not used to this, I just recommend using 2D right there. And then yeah, you guys can also make it like this and fade it away. But what's the point, right? Because you need to see, and so make it just full, you know, map that you guys can see right there. And yeah, that's about it, honestly, for that one. And then after that, honestly, kill notification, right? This one is good for PvPing, so whenever you kill somebody, it pops up right there. So I like to just put it up there on the very top, right? So that way I can basically see whoever I kill, basically, and then it just pops up right there. And then after that, you guys can basically play around with this HP bar, stamina, buff list, right? And then all the cooldown, like these slots right here, guys. That's what you guys want to play around on your screen, for example. If you do not see your HP right here, guys, all you have to do is go to settings. And then right here, go to general settings. And then after that, go to show hide. And then scroll all the way down until you guys see something like this called custom HP bar. So make sure this one is activated so that way you guys can basically play around with that. And customize your, you know, HP bar, black spirit gauge, and the PvP button in the edit UI window. So make sure that one is activated. If not, this is what it's gonna look like for you guys on your screen. But if you guys actually turn it on, now this disappears, right? And it looks like this. And now you guys can basically customize and move these around on your screen. And then there's also, you know, quick slots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I just put it on the very top, or you guys can put it on the very bottom. It's really up to you. But personally, I just put it on the very top, so that way, you know, it just makes it nice and pretty, and nothing's on my screen basically besides, you know, what I want to just see. So usually with your quick slot settings, it's always going to be on the bottom unless you actually do something cool trick like this. For example, go to settings and then go to general settings, quality of life. Make sure this quick slot is activated, guys, and see what happens. If you guys do that, you guys can basically now start moving around, you know, all the quick slots. So instead of being on the bottom now, you guys can basically move around all your quick slots everywhere, like anywhere on your screen. For example, I put my 1, 2, 3 here, for example, guys. And then, you know, as my ninja player, I put some skills right here, for example, and then use 1, 2, 3, for example, there. And then after that, 4, 5, 6, I don't really use it. And everything else, I don't really use it. And so I just put it on the very top right, for example. And you guys can even, you know, just turn off that if you don't want to see it. But if you guys do want to see it, then, you know, make sure that eyeball is on and then save it. But it does make that emptiness of box, right? However, you guys can definitely still put, like, you know, if you guys want to buff up or something and you wanted to see like how many stuff you have left, you guys can basically use that as, you know, just what do you have on your inventory, for example. So instead of just pressing I and then figuring out, you know, how many stuff do you have there, now this is what you guys can do. And then, you know, put that on your, for, you know, simple crown meals or perfume or that, right? If you guys have a fairy, for example. And then with the fairy, you guys have, if you guys have continuous care 4, tier 4, it has this auto use items, and then it basically, you know, just uses the items for you guys, right? So if I hover these and this and then press confirm, and then if I right click on it, right, it just automatically activates a simple crown meal, for example. And then now you guys can see like how many crown meals do you have as well in your inventory. And so this is really, really nice to, you know, check it out. Like if you guys want to know how many, you know, stuff you have in your inventory, and then just put them up there if you want. If not, personally, I just like to turn them all off because I have like 100 of those, so I don't really care. And so yeah, and just make it all nice and pretty just like that. And then just only show the ones that you guys are basically going to use for your skills. Also, don't forget, guys, you guys can do something cool like this as well. For example, with your e-buff, instead of using, you know, if you guys have a like some kind of hotkey for this, but for example, Meiwa does not have it. So what we're gonna do is just put it right there. And so what we're gonna do right now is we have a quick slot right here for Meiwa blade, but it was not activated. And so what we want to do is click on this tool on the very top right, and then it says reset the keybind for quick slot 11 and say yes. And then now you guys can basically click anywhere here, right? in order to change that button, for example. And so for example, now we can basically use like F1 if you wanted to, right? So let's just click F1. And now whenever we press F1, now it activates our ebuff. And so that's what you guys can do if you guys have a keyboard that has like F1 or F2 buttons, right? For example. If not, for those people who only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and no F1s on the very top, what I usually like to do is go to interface settings and then somewhere here, right here. So if you guys remember, it's 11, right, for that one. And so instead of F1, we're gonna actually press like either tab or even caps lock and see what happens. And you guys can also use it on your mouse button too if you guys have a mouse button. But yeah, let's see what happens if you do caps lock, right? Now it actually says caps lock. And then whenever we press caps lock, we actually use the ability, for example, guys, right? So let's try pressing caps lock right now. Oh, we have a fishing rod right now. Okay, let's press caps lock. And then boom, now we activate ebuff. However, putting on a caps lock, guys, just make sure, you know, you're not spamming on your guild chat, getting angry at people because now you guys are on caps lock. And so yeah, just keep that in mind. Just turn it off. And so yeah, sometimes I just get really mad on my guildmates and they're like, you okay, bruh? And so you guys see also like how it's all blacked out on the very top and bottom. What I did from that was go to settings. If you guys go to game window and then there's a UI scale and then you guys make sure turn crop mode. And if you guys do that and then just put display height about like, you know, 70% and apply it basically shortens down the screen. And so what's so important about this is that it actually gives you guys really nice FPS if you guys don't have a really good computer. Plus, look at this. Let's say that we see this white horse on the left side, right? And then now let's just turn it back all the way on and see what happens if we see the horse or not. So look at this. Now we don't actually see the white horse on the left side, right? And so that's the reason why also this can be very good for PvPing, is that it actually makes your screen wider. And so, you know, right now, guys, we can't see the white horse. But if we short it down and then apply the crop mode, now we can basically see further on the side. And so that's why this is very nice to use, guys, is for when it comes to like PvPing, for example. And so now you guys can basically see even further, right, on the sideways. And so you might just have to get used to this. It might be very like weird in the very beginning. I had a hard time with it basically until you know, I got adjusted, but now I'm okay with it. And so yeah, like that's why it's really good to use like, you know, using the crop mode for that one, so that way you guys can see, you know, further for PvPing wise and wider. I think that's about it. Yeah, and then on the top right there's a location time information, right? So it basically just tells you which location you have and the time information for, you know, the game time. However, I turned it off because, you know, if I'm streaming, people might just come over and kill me, you know, just stream sniping, right? And so what we really like to do is just turn it off as a streamer, for example. And then, yeah, if you don't want to get harassed by live people, you know, whenever you're streaming, for example, then you just turn it off so that way people can't really know where you are, for example. And so, yeah, that's about it, honestly, for my edit UI. And once again, guys, I highly recommend checking that video out about the edit UI for the middle ones, for the skill cooldown slots. I teach you guys everything about it and why it's so good, because the main reason is that it actually teaches you guys how to play your class, especially when you guys are beginner friendly. And even just putting them on the screen, it also tells you like how many cooldowns, you know, how long it will take to use it again, right? So after 5 seconds it's done, then, you know, it's activated. So I'm basically ready to go to use it again, and then just use it again, right? And then just, you know, use those combos and spam it. And so yeah, that's why it's really important to put your skills on the screen. And so I highly recommend you guys doing that right now. All right, and check also my video right now. I'll put the link on the top right, and then make sure you guys don't miss it. And so yeah, that's about it for this edit UI video. Hope you guys liked it and learned something from it. And then yeah, let me know if you have any more questions on the, you know, comments down below, and then go from there. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Ciao.